Okay, my name is Brooke Richards-Patterson. I already emailed this whole thing to the non-conflicted Board of Ed members, so I'm just going to read it until I guess I run out of time. I wanted to email this because it was too long to read. Although you may be considering extending the contract for the superintendent, the possibility of hiring someone new means there are things that people should be mindful of. I apologize, but not everything is positive, but these things need to be said. Here's some observations and recent conversations brought to light. After polling parents, Mr. Cittadino shut down schools, ignoring parent surveys and surrounding town success in staying open. Admin has been trying to gaslight and convince us that all the kids are caught up to speed on their academics, but that is simply untrue to deflect accountability. Board of Ed member Matt Silikowski wrote emails to parents about a controversial health curriculum to be implemented, including teaching elementary-aged children about masturbation, anal and oral sex, and the OBEA suggested Planned Parenthood talk to middle school children about abortion. There were about 200 parents in attendance who were opposed to it. Mr. Cittadino mocked Matt Silikowski for doing this when questioning why the state is implementing sex ed to children young enough to believe in the tooth fairy. Why not be transparent with families and allow them to be involved in something like this? I've watched the administration disrespect Board of Ed members multiple times over the years. This conduct is unprofessional and embarrassing. These people were elected by stakeholders to be your supervisor. Mr. Cittadino claimed that Cheesequake, a blue ribbon school, had structural issues in order to close it. It didn't, and now it's being rented to another school district because no one read the deed that states they can't sell the school to be another school. School administrators recruit unqualified family members. Mr. Cittadino agreed to get a doctorate as a term of his employment. It's been 12 years. And summer school is paid for by the taxpayers instead of the responsible parent. Mr. Cittadino was unsure of this when I recently brought this up. I discovered it at a committee meeting that isn't recorded. Other districts don't do this. We also don't require students to test out of summer school, setting the child up for hardship again. All they have to do now is show up for summer school to pass. It's a waste and an opportunity to be dishonest about scores. We still don't know, I guess, what happened to the extra money given to us during COVID. Allegedly, not every child was tested for IXL, again, being dishonest. Every child should be tested for an accurate overview. I personally asked about my own child's learning loss and was dismissed for 2 years from the school, and also Dr. Toohey. Allegedly, Dr. Toohey had no special ed degree when hired to oversee the department.
Excuse me, Ms. Patterson, I paused your time. Please limit this to Mr. Cittadino's performance specifically. This is about his contract. At least
this is all under his supervision.
At least tie your comments into why it has to do with his contract if you can.
Absolutely, because it all is under his watch. He's responsible for every employee in the school. So again, allegedly not every child was tested for IXL. I personally asked about learning loss and was dismissed. Allegedly, the assistant superintendent created a position for his relative and who was promoted 2 years prematurely. Allegedly, the high school principals handed out stipends to unqualified members to his boys club, including an Olympic, including rejecting an Olympic person for a varsity track position. Allegedly, no one in the high schools could report the misconduct because the assistant superintendent's family member was once their union rep. Are other relatives doing this as well? My family has fallen victim to retaliation, so I would imagine that, you know, other people would be afraid of this as well. And the administration has access to the board of emails that would probably also
I'm going to pause you, Brooke. At this point, like I said, I think this portion of your email, because I have it here, can be read at the latter portion, at the any district issue. You can continue going, because at this point, I think the beginning was about Dave's, and to Mr. Parrin's point, while you did give your rebuttal, I think maybe that second portion, if you can save it to any district issue, and you can go through the test scores and the thing about Dr. Sasso. Perhaps that will be best suited for any district issue at the end of that. Is that okay, Mr. Parrin?
Yeah, I mean, it's up to Ms. Patterson. You have 48 seconds left.
You didn't mention this, Mr. Whitell, when I emailed you this entire thing already, hours ago. Excuse me?
Right, I'm not the legal counsel, so I shared it with Chris right before the meeting, and I just got that information. So again, we're still giving you the opportunity to read the rest of the email at another portion of the meeting. It's just this has to specifically pertain to the Mr. Cittadino's contract.
And again, that all falls under his watch. So again, there's just been a lot of secrets in this township, in this district. It starts from the top. It's, made its way down, funneled its way down to the other administrative members. And so I'd like for the Board of Ed members to please consider this and look into this a little bit more before making another decision about this. Thank you.
I was a little delayed. I apologize for my tardiness this evening. And I know that a lot of people understand that I'm conflicted here on this vote that's going to happen next week, but I'm allowed to speak my mind and to explain some things about David Cittadino that you should know about. Quite frankly, I know that politics drives a lot of things, and we have audience members shaking their head right now, but I can tell you unequivocally that I'm as conservative as many of these people in this room are. And politics does not have any role on the Board of Ed, okay? We have to serve all children. We have to serve all children, regardless of who they are and what they are, and I've always said that. And quite frankly, we're in the business of doing that. Now, to be quite honest, I don't have a vote here because I'm conflicted and I'm being honest, okay? I know David for many, many years. I've been on this board since 2011. There's only one other person on this board that's been here as long as I have, and that's Mr. Silikowski sitting across from me. Okay, I know the stories, I know the background, I know the truth. And a lot of the stuff that's been spewed here tonight is inaccurate by very far. And quite honestly, I think people should educate themselves before they open their mouths. Because you know what? When you're spewing and talking nonsense that's untruthful, that's hurtful, and that's slander. So you better understand what you're saying is accurate before you come to the stage and say things that are inappropriate and not correct. I have the institutional knowledge. I know the backgrounds. I know the situation. And quite frankly, there were speakers up here who had issue with the Board of Education because of a vote that we had on a request. So when you come up here, please know your facts. Know that people have some issues with David because of issues that they had personal with him. So I'm going to just say this one thing, and I'm going to appeal to my colleagues on the board this evening, and I'm going to do it again next week. And if I'm out of place, Mr. Parton, please tell me. I know I'm conflicted. My wife is an employee here in the district. She's been employed here for 16 years as a first grade teacher at Cooper Elementary School. But I need to speak clearly and from my heart because David has been a very important piece of where we are today. And no man is perfect. I can tell you that. There's not anyone out there who's perfect. Look at yourself in the mirror, people. So if you're going to criticize someone for a decision or two that he's made over his 11 years or 12 years of tenure here, that's inappropriate and that's not being wise. Now this district, as you may know, we have a financial issue. And if we're going to start changing leadership during our most trying times for our financial health and stability, you must be dreaming. I am asking the public to please get the truth. Get the facts. Don't listen to hearsay.
My name is Brooke Richards-Patterson. A lot of this is going to be touching on stuff that's kind of already been a moot point. But I just did want to, touch on some things because, going out for, I guess, the final year and then considering everybody that's coming in, it is important to touch on some of the things, I guess, to piggyback off of last week, some parental comments, some teachers union, board member comments, and then Board of Ed members. Contrary to what anyone says, any concerns expressed are not little things. Closing down a blue ribbon school is not a little thing. Not considering the consumers during school shutdowns is not little. We literally got emails to do in-person tutoring at the YMCA when our tax dollars pay for township schooling. Not little. There was no transparency with parents as far as sexualizing a curriculum that was being presented to young innocent children. Not little. Despite some fake news remarks, Planned Parenthood, anal and oral sex, masturbation were all just a few topics that had no business being, planted into our children's heads. Yet this was something that was announced by not our administration. Every child should be tested in the state for state and IXL testing. No faculty member should be recruiting friends nor family members without full transparency and a resume detailed with qualifications. Every faculty member should be able to feel safe to come forward to any and all upper admin concerns and upsets without feeling like they will be retaliated against. This is not little. Every paras should not be injured at work by consumers due to not being offered the appropriate training that other districts offer. That's not little. I'd like to know if admin has access to the Board of Ed emails, and if so, why? Where would a faculty member go for help regarding admin conflict? Why are so many parents and faculty members afraid to speak up? I campaigned for Board of Ed last year. The superintendent actually wasn't even on my radar's priorities, believe it or not. But so many people came forward as I campaigned and expressed their upset and live in fear of retaliation. So, I mean, even yesterday, a complete stranger messaged me talking about her children and fear of retaliation. A faculty member, a prior faculty member, talked about, discrimination, and these people are just afraid. I've tried to encourage them to come and talk, because otherwise, just one or two people is just going to, be perceived as bitter. You have these people go on and, say all these nasty things online just because you're a parent expressing yourself. And I'm a parent. I'm going to say, what I want to say. I'd like for the schools to stop pretending that we're excelling in advance with test scores and circle back to the younger core kids still, in the school since the shutdown. I know I asked for 2 years of help, and it was actually Mr. Cittadino was the only one that helped me, and that took 2 years after being rejected by multiple faculty members, including the assistant superintendent. Administrative decisions combined with nepotism on the Board of Ed have led to a movement, and people are just looking for change. We are consumers. Everybody should be working together, taking action. Last week I was interrupted from speaking, and then I was followed by a conflicted Board of Ed member whose wife is in the system, overshadowing and attempting to invalidate my concerns with rude, unprofessional, and out-of-line commentary towards me, a district parent. Mr. Dunn, despite not being a voting member on a contract matter, attempted to influence and persuade both the Board of Ed members and general public while trying to shame me as a parent. The Board of Ed should create a bylaw to prevent faculty members that are conflicted, related to members for Board of Ed. It's unethical, it's opportunistic, and a waste of time and money. This could have been voted on one way or the other already if we didn't continue to vote in conflicted, Board of Ed members. They're not being transparent. Mr. Dunn invoked a doctrine of necessity in 2019 so that five conflicted Board of Ed members could vote. This is dishonest, it's not transparent nor ethical. So I encourage the Board of Ed to abolish having this ability for invoking the doctrine of necessity and also having conflicted Board of Ed members. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Parton, there was accusations that were just made towards me invoking the doctrine of necessity for a board vote. You know as well as everyone on this board that never happened, and quite frankly, I'm getting tired of the misinformation that is being out there. So have I ever